Shalom, Israel. I'd like to start off by saying Barak Tehawa, Bashim Yahushai, Barak Tehawa, Bashim Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers that are out there pushing the truth to the four corners of the world. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, I just want to touch on the subject, and really, I'm just recapping, echoing. 2 days ago at camp, I actually made this video, yesterday, but I think there's something going on with my YouTube right now. Esau, has put it like, he's becoming a hindrance. But really, the topic is just like, keep your pace, stay in your lane. That's pretty much what this whole thing is about. And it spoke to me, and like, if you're like me, you're like young in this truth, this is actually like a really good piece of information that, you should have in your mind. Let me start off with Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, starting from verse 21, right? It says, "Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search things that are above thy strength. But what is commanded of thee, think thereupon with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret." Right? "Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men understand." Right? So when you come into this truth, right, and you're learning, you just came in, you learn that you're an Israelite, you learn the name of Yahweh and his son and our Lord, Yahushai, and pretty milk, you are new and you're taking the milk, and that's good, right? But don't get carried away. Like if you're watching YouTube videos too much, what Esau likes to do is that, and I've seen this when you're watching brothers' videos, he likes to recommend people's videos, and if you're not solid, like if you're not learned in this truth, like at least like a little bit. So if you just came in like 2 weeks ago, a couple months ago, a year ago, right, and 2 years, even 3 years, like me, and you don't really, you haven't really been nurtured by like a brotherhood, or you haven't learned like properly, you will start feeding into these videos that you will click on, because what they recommend, not all the videos they recommend is good, right? You have people in there that pray to angels, that teach you to pray to angels, and then you have people with little markers, and whiteboard, try to calculate, the year, the coming of the Messiah. And then you have people, who say also, you have people who say that Leviathan is a volcano, right? And when you listen to all these things, you stop, which none of these are biblical, right? So you start mixing it into this truth, and then you become unstable, and then you eventually fall out, right? It becomes too much for you, too much thinking, and then things start to contradict itself. You're not learning right, but you still want to keep everything in your mind. That's bad. That's toxic, right? So seek not things that are too hard for thee, right? Neither search things that are above thy strength, right? And then verse 22, "But what is commanded of thee, think thereupon with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret," right? You knowing that you're an Israelite, sometimes and knowing Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's name, sometimes like that, I don't want to say like that's all you need to know in the truth, because that's not true. But the little things is you keep it and you try to build upon it. You learn until you have to learn more, right, to stay in this thing. Because if if you're doing too much, if you're doing too much, constantly burning the fire in you, the flame is gonna go out, right? Let me 2 Timothy chapter. Yeah, 2 Timothy chapter 3, like being solid in his truth, right? But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them, right? So, right, just like the scripture said, this race that we're in is not like a race for the swift, but it's for your main purpose is to endure. Like your don't come into this thing thinking that you have to be pushing the most videos. You have to be talking about like things that people cannot comprehend. You have to be digging so deep, things that people have never heard of before. But really, it's almost like impossible, because we really, like, all the things that you're saying is things that has been said over and over and over again, and you're just repeating it, right? And when you come to this thing, don't be too arrogant. Don't think you're all that. Like, you come to this truth, because what? 1 Corinthians. Alright, yeah. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him be a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh. For it is written, He taketh the wise in his own craftiness, right? So when you come to this truth, with the little you think you know all that. You go you go to the common board and you try to teach brothers that have been in this truth like what, a decade more than you have been. You think you know it all, but really the scripture said you don't. You're still like, there's a little tiny bit of this world in you, and it needs to be purged out. Right? And how do you purge out? You need to become a fool. You need to disregard everything that you've learned in this world, right? That you may be taught like the new things, because the wisdom of this world is foolishness to God. And if you want the wisdom of the Most High, you have to be foolish in this world. So you come in, you take your time, don't be arrogant, right? You learn, but in order to learn, you have to disregard everything that you have learned in this world. All right, so let's go first. I'll start off with Matthew chapter 5, maybe. Slide. So like I'm trying to piece things together. I thought I had my precepts down, but I think I put them wrong. All right, let's jump back to Corinthians. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, starting from verse 6. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit all. For to one is given by the Spirit of wisdom, and to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another the faith by the same Spirit, to another the gift of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirit, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one and the self same Spirit, divided to every man severally as he will. For as the body is one, and has many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so is Yahushai. Right? So when you come into this truth, don't compare yourself to somebody, because everybody is different. What your job is try find like your place in this truth, and then how you push your I don't know how to put it, but you have a different spirit than another brother, right? So when you come in, don't try to compare yourself to somebody. Just learn like be balanced, like put wisdom in it. So the whole point of this video, right, is don't do too much, right? Don't do things above your strength. Stay in your lane, right? Be steady and learn. And now in order to learn, you have to be a fool. Discard everything that you have learned, so that you can be wise with the scriptures, so that this thing can come into your mind. Now, when this thing comes into your mind, you have a different spirit. Like now you are growing in this, but you are different from another brother. But you are the same spirit, the same body, right? So when you come to this truth, keep that spirit, keep pushing forward, and contribute, right? Like the elder apostle said, you're not a bench warmer. When you come to this truth, you're supposed to push it out, because if the spirit will die if you don't push it out, edify the sheep. So, because you're part of a body, and every little thing that you do help. Don't worry about how many subscribers you got, how many views you're getting. Don't worry about that. Just push it. Everyone has a different vibe in this truth, a different spirit. So just do what you're supposed to do, and Yahweh Bashim Yahushai will reward the work of your hand. So like, I think that's. Let me close it up with Matthew. This is Matthew chapter 5, starting from verse 29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that the whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Now, knowing that you're part of this truth, don't be corrupt. All right? We're in the business, like, how do I put this? Like, your job is to preach the of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Of Esau's kingdom. Letting the world know who the real devil is. Letting them know who's come to set things right, Yahushai. Letting them know who the Most High is, Yahweh. So when you come to this truth, you're part of a body. Now, when you start bugging out, the Yahushua is telling us, when you're part of a body and you start bugging out, if you're offending, if you're becoming a hindrance for this truth, you need to be severed out. You need to be cut off. So, again, I want to repeat it again. Don't do things that are above your strength. Right? Keep a steady pace. Learn in balance. When you do learn in balance, in order for you to learn, you have to what? Discard everything that this word has told you, everything that you thought you knew, right? And then bring in this truth, this word. Now, this word comes to your mind. You're contributing. You have a different spirit. You're different. You're part of a body, right? Now, knowing that you're part of a body, you should also know that if you're coming off, if you're not using the spirit right, if you're not so like, how do I put this? If you're not utilizing what the Most High has given you, if you're becoming if you become like a, how do I put this? You're not a right? You start becoming arrogant, thinking you could do your own thing, you know it all, right? Disregarding brothers teach you things you don't want to understand, and you're part of a body, you will be severed out. You'll be cut off. So with that, I hope the sheep is edified. Shalom.